Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Peter Barber. I'm primarily a professional opera singer, music producer, and bass vocalist. Today we are returning with my fourth video, I believe, that I've made for Morissette Amon. This is her cover of Rise Up. I have gotten tons and tons of requests to do this one, to give a first-time reaction and a vocal analysis, so that is what we will be doing today. Guys, it is my goal on this channel to bring you as much possible value and enjoyment to your listening experience. I really want you guys to be able to fully appreciate these amazing artists that I'm doing that for. So if I am bringing value to your experience, please consider bringing value to my experience by joining my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. It's the best possible way to support me as a creator, artist, and educator. Aside from that, please do like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comment for the algorithm. It could be as simple as saying, "Hi Peter," or "Morissette's awesome," or "Yay, Rise Up's the best." Doesn't matter. It's all good for the algorithm. And a fresh reminder, this will be a reaction and analysis, so I will be pausing frequently to talk about various aspects of the musicality of this performance, but mostly about vocal technique, because that's where my expertise truly lies. So if you're interested in that, stick around. If you'd rather go watch the original video straight through and then come back to learn more about it, I will leave a link to that video below in the description. And without further ado, let's check out Morissette's cover of Rise Up on the Wish Bus, one of my favorite places to watch and analyze performances at this point. Dubstep intro.
Broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we go work it out.
I can't remember. I'm 99% sure I know the original, but I can't. I guess it's by Andre Day. Is that the original singer? I'm pretty sure I've heard the original before. I'm hearing the lyrics of Rise Up in a certain melody in my head. We'll see if that's the song I'm thinking of. Let's talk about her vocal technique here.
You're broken down and tired.
So it starts with a little scoop on that first pitch. You're broken down and she goes up into a much lighter, she kind of flips up into a lighter head voice. You know, not that she needs to, we're nowhere near the top of her natural chest range, but she kind of flips up to a lighter mechanism. B flat 4 to A flat 4. Obviously she can carry her you know, kind of weighted chest voice up that high, but she opts for a flip there to invoke that lighter vocal mechanism, which just kind of keeps the sound softer, keeps it more breathy, keeps it more intimate. You know, obviously we're a long way from the climax of this song, so it's a good way to kind of taper that.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round.
And she goes back to she goes into a full chest voice up around similar pitches. See where she goes up to there.
You're broken down and tired of living life.
So back to that A flat 4 again, and this time in a more connected chest voice. There's better vocal fold closure, which means the sound is going to be more efficient, more powerful. We obviously can't tell true volume in this setting, one, because we're listening through a medium. The only way you can tell true volume is to actually hear the sound live in person, without any amplification or anything. But you can tell the quality of the sound and how that would likely result in a change in true volume, like energy, like decibel value. So when she returns to this motif on that A flat 4 again, it's connected to her chest voice, which means she's stretching out the whole mass of the vocal folds to reach those pitches instead of just the edges of the vocal folds, which allow you to sing much higher up into your head voice and falsetto and all that. And there's more vocal fold efficiency, meaning the vocal folds are coming together for a longer period of time during each of their oscillations. That means it has a higher closed quotient. I'm throwing a lot of terminology at you guys right now, but if you've watched my videos for Morissette before, you're probably somewhat familiar at this point. So higher closed quotient and keeping fully connected to chest voice are two ways to really increase your power and volume in a sound. So we can assume that when she returns to this A flat 4 here in pure chest voice, the sound would be much more powerful in person.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round.
And then returns.
You can find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we go work it out.
So pretty much the same exact approach to that repeat there. The first one, she flips up into that lighter mechanism, and then the second iteration of that little melodic phrase, she once again goes into her pure chest voice at the top, resulting in a more pure, getting ever so slightly towards that yell quality, like mechanistic. Not that she sounds like she's yelling. I mean, like physiologically, a high chest belt is very similar to a yell in terms of like what's actually happening mechanistically in the body.
On a merry-go-round, and you can find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we go work it out.
Wish. So an obvious flip up into that head voice. It's up to a C sharp 5 here, and with a little riff down, and I mean, you can just tell the quality, like that's a pretty obvious demonstration of that lighter mechanism I'm talking about. So it's easy to tell the difference between like that, where she flips up and has this little riff down on that ooh, compared to, pretty much how she's approaching most of the rest of the song, which has been mostly in chest voice, albeit a more breathy, soft approach. You can still tell the difference in quality there.
But I see it in you, so we go work it out.
Wish. 1075.
We can work it out.
Okay, so the same riff there on that repeats. Same exact phrase coming down.
Mountains.
Move mountains, that's what she's saying. Move mountains. Okay, got it.
Mountains. I'll rise up, I could say, and I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again.
Yes, confirmed. This is the song I was thinking of. All right, so now she's going into a much more efficient use of the air. Vocal folds are coming together. She's remaining purely in chest voice into this yell-like quality, this high chest belt quality. And it just adds a lot of intensity to the song, which is, what you need for a cover of this particular piece and what you want to kind of continue along the path towards the climax. Usually we'll get there during like the third chorus will be the true climax, but we are getting a nice taste of her upper chest range here.
I'll rise up, I could say, and I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up.
So there's up to that C sharp 5, 1/2 step above tenor high C in that pure chest voice. And you can tell how, you can really hear, even though we can't tell true volume, we can safely assume that there's a lot more volume coming out of her voice on that high C sharp than there is pretty much anywhere else in the song so far. Now, of course, it's going through this microphone. The sound is all compressed. Even though she's performing it live, you can compress, via electronics, you can compress the sound in real time so that everything sounds more radio quality. None of this is being tuned, as far as I know, in real time, which I comment on a lot. I think she sings extremely well in tune, which is such an understated skill in live performance, especially when singing with headphones on, when singing while you're sitting down. All of these things contribute to making it much more difficult to sing in tune. And she and everyone I've seen on the Wish Bus so far does a phenomenal job of that. So, like, as someone who performs live, like for the main part of my career, hat is always off to people who sing really well in tune. It makes a huge difference as far as like enjoyment and comfort with the, if the audience is watching, you can have a really beautiful voice, but if you're singing out of tune, it's like it's kind of a little bit on edge. You're like, ooh, this is not right. So shouts to Morissette, always sings really well in tune, and now we're getting a nice taste of her upper chest range.
Rise up, I'll rise unafraid.
So really like consistent breast support there on that riff up. Unafraid I'll rise up. There's just a very consistent, it wasn't choppy, like it didn't, oh, probably just whacked the microphone. It wasn't like a choppy delivery of that text. You could tell there was a stream of air flowing the whole time, allowing for that legato line. She didn't let the consonants disrupt the flow of air. That is a very good sign of good singing. Right here. Really smooth.
And I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up. I like the waves. I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I'll rise up. And
nice.
I'll do it 1,000 times again.
So something worth pointing out, I love talking about this particular thing, vowel modification on high chest notes. When you're singing high in your chest voice, and then again, way up like another, basically an octave higher if you're singing in your head voice or falsetto, you want to opt for a very big, large mouth position. So you can see kind of no matter what word she's singing, even though we've got vowels all over the place, rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, something, something, something. You've got like E's, A's, Ah's. Her mouth position is staying very much towards like that ah, like this is like the neutral position is like a very open, wide mouth, which just better allows the sound, like literally based on physics of how sound waves propagate from the vocal folds throughout the vocal tract. It is a better option to have a larger open oral cavity, so to speak, as the sound is coming out. It's just better for the sound. So a lot of singers, when they're belting really high or singing really high in head voice, they'll have their mouths wide open. And that is for reasons of physics. Even if they're not consciously doing it naturally, you know, assuming the support's right and everything, they are going to open their mouths more because their bodies are going to naturally know, this feels better doing it this way. So just notice, no matter kind of what she's singing in this chorus, when she's up at the top of her, towards the top of her chest range, notice how open her mouth is the whole time.
1,000 times again. And I'll rise up. I like the waves. I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
So you can tell the closer she gets to those high C sharps, the more the vowels like remain open. Even when she gets down just like a major third or a fourth, back down here, whatever, down to the F or whatever she was, when it gets a bit lower, there's much more freedom. You have a lot more flexibility in the vowels you choose. But when you get up to that C sharp, there's almost like, there's kind of like one way to sing it. And you can tell that as she ascends to that point during that chorus.
For you, for you.
So up to an A flat. So now we're up to about an octave higher than where she kind of started the piece. About a C sharp, a perfect fifth higher than how she was just belting. And this is of course in that lighter mechanism. So at this point, no longer is the full mass of her vocal folds vibrating. It is now just the edges, the mucosal membranes, which allows the vocal folds to stretch much farther because you're literally stretching less mass.
For you, for you.
So you can notice even a little bit here, when she jumps up to the higher notes, her mouth's going to open just a bit.
Times again. For you.
It's like you. Now, if she were really putting a lot of power into the sound, then she would need to opt for an even more open position. If you're singing softly, you can kind of get away with singing any part of your range on a closed mouth position. It's kind of the more powerful you're singing, the more powerful and higher, the more you're going to want to open that mouth, depending on your register. High in your chest range or high in your head voice.
For you.
She ends those phrases almost completely coming off the voice. And when I say coming off the voice, I mean the vocal folds almost stop coming together and the sound almost turns into a complete whisper where there's no phonation. Phonation means there's actually tone, there's pitch coming out, which happens from vocal folds coming together and oscillating. If you don't have that, you have a whisper. And she almost kind of ends the phrases like that, you know, getting it to a very intimate place, essentially, where it's just air. See, the end is kind of exhales.
The silence is quiet. It feels like it's getting hard to breathe.
That first, so that was even a softer, more intimate place of singing than she started the song in the first verse, which is rare. Usually the second verse, like whatever levels you were hearing in the first verse, they just ramp it up one. She actually pulled it back a little bit.
The silence is
very breathy, soft singing.
It feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying.
Hey, there's the squeak. Again, I'm not going to try and pitch it, but it goes up into like a whistle tone for a split second. That's a unique technique thing that Morissette does that you don't really hear many people do.
To breathe, and I know you feel like dying.
And that's different from the first verse. So we're getting a little slight variation on the melody and delivery of text. So we're getting a little variation there compared to the first verse.
To breathe, and I know you feel like dying, and I promise we'll take the world to its feet.
Almost the same riff that she added like a little like neighbor tone. A neighbor tone is when you go or like the pitch right next to the one within the scale that you're within the key that you're singing. If you go up and down or down and up, that's called using a neighbor tone. She has a very short-lived neighbor tone right at the end of that riff, which is different than the first time. That tiny little thing there, that's called a short neighbor tone, essentially.
Mountains, we can walk it out. Move mountains, and I'll rise like the day, and I'll rise up.
Oh, background vocals.
I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again.
So pretty similar to the first. She had that really nice vocal line where the air just kept flowing and she kept the vibrato spinning on the long notes. Really nice. And now we have background vocals. So, you know, she's obviously singing along to a track. I don't think there are musicians in performing live with her. I think only her singing is live. And now we have, if there were background vocalists, they would probably be showcased some. So I'm guessing the background vocals and all the instrumentals are pre-tracked and she is singing along to this track live.
And I'll do it 1,000 times again for you, for you.
Pretty loud background vocals, actually.
For you.
Now, what's interesting is, I mean, you can hear, so that like the volume of the background vocals is pretty much as loud as her, which is a little unusual. But they're panned straight to the left and right ear, if you guys can hear that. I think now in my new recording setup, I do record stereo, so you should be able to hear the background vocals in your left and right ear, and you should be able to hear Morissette right in the center. So you still get her right here, and you get them out here, so it allows for this kind of cool, like, panoramic audio experience. But the volume-wise, I mean, they are pretty much just as loud as her, which is unusual for background vocals. There's a nice little riff we did not get in the first chorus. See, that's no longer an ooh vowel. That's an vowel. She's like really, she's opening it up like because of physics. So an octave higher than what I'm singing. And you could tell there's a little more power behind her approach on this song, to this note she's singing right now. So to keep it a pure ooh would be pretty much impossible. So she's opting, like, clearly you could see her mouth position right now. That is not an ooh. That is an probably. Interesting how physics really does play a role in singing. It's close enough to an ooh. I mean, we do this all the time in opera. We will vowel modify to optimize for resonance and power and clarity of tone. If you're singing with a full orchestra and you're trying to sing like a pure ooh vowel, no one's probably going to hear it. You need to open your mouth some to get more volume out. So it's the same concept of vowel modification that we see here. Sorry, I keep scratching my nose. I've got a itchy nose today. Oh, that was like an extended squeak.
All we need is hope, and through that we have each other, and for that we have each other. Oh.
I like she's really showcasing like a warm, rounded quality to her sound in that middle range. Each other. So down to this, C sharp 4, I believe, just above middle C there. And we're getting kind of a different quality to her sound.
All we need is hope, and through that we have each other, and for that
There's some
we
richness
have
to that sound.
each other.
Because in the first part of the piece, when she's singing that range, she was opting for that more kind of breathy approach, but now she's kind of singing full out in that part of her range, and so we're getting the kind of full timbre of her voice. It's a nice timbre.
We will rise, we will rise, we will rise.
Yes, sing it, girl. She did a little growl. So when you do a growl, that likely means you're activating the false vocal folds. They're larger. They sit kind of underneath your true folds, and it allows for that kind of growl sound to come in, which is different than grit. A growl sound is grit. Actually, just usually involves your true folds, I believe. A growl involves your false vocal folds. Depending on the kind of grit. God, we could really get in the weeds about the physiology there, which I'm not going to do right now. Oh God, that was a high F. Now notice it's not we, it's a much more way. It's like way. Again, opting for that open mouth position. Okay, so we're getting like C sharp, D sharp / F flat, F. Super high. Big open mouth position, really, really efficient sound. Notice how there is absolutely no extra air coming through her voice when she's singing up that high. It's a very pure sound. Like nothing extra. Some really nice riffing to kind of tie it all in. Yep.
I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up in spite of the ache.
So this is like a much more intimate version of the chorus, which is a standard practice build, or first verse, chorus, second verse, second chorus, bridge. Normally this would be a bridge section, but instead it's just the chorus, but sung instrumentally stripped down. and optioning for lower harmonies, optioning for a bit of that lighter singing instead of the chest voice singing. And then, of course, we're gonna, I'm just sure, we're gonna finish with another big chorus where she goes even crazier on the belting.
And I rise like the day.
So that was, she opted for head voice here, lighter mechanism instead of chest voice like she did earlier.
And I rise up.
One major difference.
I rise like the day. I'm rising.
And then just options way down here.
And I'll do it 1,000 times again. I rise up. I rise like the day.
It's just appreciate how she goes from like not the bottom of her range, but you know, the nice middle meaty part of her chest voice up way up to I think a high F again, F5.
And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
So she's down to an A flat 3. A flat 3 to F5.
And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
And a little growl.
I rise up the day, I rise up. In spite of the ache, I rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again. I rise up.
Yeah.
High like the waves, I rise up. In spite of the ache, and I'll do it 1,000 times again for you.
Gotta go back. Okay. So this is what we hoped for. This is what we're expecting. A big climactic finish, tons of high belting, and just notice and appreciate all the subtle differences, like the different short little riffs she's doing, the different rhythm in which she's delivering the text, the options to either higher or lower notes. I'd say in this case mostly higher compared to the previous chorus she's done. There are a lot of minor differences, which is what contributes to making the final chorus, the climax of the song, that much more climactic. That's the difference. That's different. That's different. That's different. That's all different. That's all different. And she got up to an even higher pitch, F sharp 5, which is just ridiculously high in pure chest voice, like ridiculously high. Perfectly in tune. I mean, she's singing almost in her high belt as she is in this high head voice here. Remarkable. So you could tell that. So that's something. So you could tell it's easy to sing high in head voice. It's actually difficult to sing low in your like head voice falsetto. Like if you go, it gets really weird and breathy sounding. If you try to go low, and you could tell when she did that riff down, she was getting to a point where there was like very little sound coming out. There's a little bit less control. There's almost no power. When she got down to a place where she would normally just sing naturally in chest voice, but to keep consistency of tone and registration, she opted to keep it in head voice. And you can tell because the riff, she just had a little bit less control over that run down than she otherwise has in every other part of her range. So if she did that in chest voice there, if she did it higher in her head voice, it'd be totally clean. But it's like there's like a little bit of it's just not quite as accurate, and it's because she's in that like super low part of her head voice, which is it's just much more difficult to control. And it's also not a thing people train. Usually you only end up there either unplanned or once in a while for a vocal effect of some kind, but it's not a part of your voice you generally train unless your opera singers probably train it. But other than that, it's not something you like really ever use.
Wish Cruiser on Wish 107.5.
Like those background vocals are like, like really loud.
We will rise again and again.
Oh wait, actually they had a cool harmony though. Pretty sure we got that from them. E flat 4 and F, or E flat and F.
We will rise.
No, something else. That?
We will rise.
There's a half step in there somewhere.
Again.
One more time.
We will rise.
I can't quite peg it. There's a lot of dissonance happening for a very short amount of time.
Again and again and again.
And that resolved. It resolved that time. Ooh. There we got the bottom of our chest range. Hey. I think it's right to it. That's really low. I think she got to a B flat 2. That's really that's very low for a female singer. Yeah, I don't think she went down to the A flat. Oh, sorry. I was totally miscalculating. E flat 3. I was like, B flat 2. That's no way. Had that wrong. She got to an E flat 3 because the song is in D flat major, C sharp major. So E flat's the re, second scale position of that scale. Re, do. She got to that one. Not that one. I was going to say that's like freakishly low, especially after singing really high. I think E flat 3. All right.
Hey wishers, this is Morissette. For more wish-exclusive videos,
just click right here.
Please click here. Click.
All these talented people. Okay, y'all. This is probably the most requested one I've gotten since I did the first song by her, Never Enough. Also on the Wish, all of her performances I've done have been on the Wish Bus. I think it's just an amazing, it's a perfect setting to analyze the voice because it's pretty stripped down, it's live, it's really wonderful. I always enjoy listening to her. I think she's super, super talented. You guys know how much I appreciate her artistry and singing. I say it a million times in these videos. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you did learn something, if I added value to your Morissette experience, please do consider joining my Patreon. It is the best possible way to support me as a creator, artist, and really on YouTube, an educator. That's kind of my main job here. My main secondary job beyond being an opera singer is being an educator on YouTube. And I really get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and it's because of Patreon that I'm able to do it. So if you want to support me, keep bringing these high quality educational / entertainment videos to you, please do consider supporting me that way. I'd greatly appreciate it. Little as $1 a month. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, leave a comment for the algorithm, and leave any suggestions you have for other songs by Morissette or from the Wish Bus that you want me to give a first time listen and analysis to. And I will definitely throw that into consideration. So that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, learned something. I will see you in the next one. Peace.